Again. So we didn't sign anybody. Let me know. I can see the comments. Let me know if you can still hear us okay. If there's a problem, obviously I can still see the comments. I'm using two screens. But hey man, fancy not signing and getting anybody through the door, man. It's fucking shite. It's absolutely diabolical. We'll come on to that in a second. We'll talk about, because everybody's going to be talking about Rafa Benitez in the next year or two. We know that's going to happen. We've got a second stream coming up after this stream as well with Alicia, Will, Fordy's coming on the channel. He has been on for a while, Fordy, and also David, who's coming on new as well. But I'm fed up, I thought, the last couple of hours that someone might come in, but we're going to be running through just basically a timeline, and then we'll head over to the second video, which will be on after this. So began really early in the morning, it was round about 9 o'clock when we seen Matt Targett. We're seeing the media going around that, Newcastle had acquired about the left back on loan. Media inquiry was, that was round about 9 a.m. We've seen Dwight Gale. He was also rumoured to be linked with, the likes of Fulham for about 15 million fee. He was pictured in the training ground about 10 a.m, which was nice to actually see that. He was smiling. I was quite confident that we'd keep Dwight Gale, if I'm being brutally honest. I didn't think he would actually leave us at all. And then we come back about 10:30 this morning. The Matt Targett deal was more information that the Saints were saying that, look, they want a fee for this loan agreement. And then the story starts to switch around about 11 o'clock in the morning that the Guardian were picking it up, saying that Everton and Newcastle were in talks for Arsenal for their striker Lucas Perez. The fee was meant to be the problem. Obviously, we'll know later on, so we'll come on to Lucas Perez joined Deportivo. This is fucking frustrating us out. About 11:30, there was a Calcio Mercato were promoting, can't get my words out the knees, that the Lazard deal was complicated, that it might not happen. Obviously, we know that it did later on. And then about the same time, it was reported that Newcastle's target, Loic Remy, had struck a deal with Las Palmas. I don't think that one's went through. I'm sure one of you will tell us if I'm right or wrong on that one. Then, roughly, Football España were actually saying, going back to the Lucas Perez story, they were saying that he is off to Deportivo, the deal's done, and they say it's a loan deal for around about €4 million, and that was around about 12 o'clock, so that put a bit of a dampener because Newcastle needed that number 10/striker, and Perez, for me, I thought was that perfect fit. He's not getting games at Arsenal, would be perfect for the Premier League, he knows the league. Around about 12:20, we're seeing an inquiry from Brighton for Tim Krul. That was from August, I don't want to pronounce that. It's one of their local media companies down Brighton. They were saying that it's in for a loan deal. We're humming and on about that one here. We didn't know that was going to go through. And then we're seeing around about 20:02 that Krul had left Brighton. He was heading down for a medical after a loan fee was agreed between both the two clubs. Around about 2 o'clock, the BBC were reporting that Newcastle had a bid for Napoli's Rafael Cabral. That never materialised, so that was a load of bollocks. So, he's with us so far. Right. Around about 2:15, Lazar was pictured casually outside the training ground on the phone. He looked quite in a heated conversation, but he was just casually dressed. He wasn't in the Newcastle gear, nothing like that. So there's still questions whether the Lazar deal would happen, would it not. About 10:03, local media, i.e. the Chronicle, started picking up that Newcastle were a little bit worried that they didn't have enough cover at left back. However, the medical may still happen in Newcastle, and Newcastle at this time was still hopeful on Target. 3 o'clock, news was filtering that Newcastle target that Divock Origi had joined Wolfsburg. Again, frustrating that we didn't go in. Why we're not going for the likes of Divock Origi? Fucking frustrating, man. Really frustrating. Round about 3:20, rumours again circulated that, this is over Twitter, I believe, that Nelson Oliveira, that was put to bed by the Chronicle, that there was rumours going around on Twitter, but that was a load of bollocks, that one. About 20:04, the BBC were then reporting saying that Newcastle are keeping Dwight Gale despite the Fulham bid. That was to be the case, so the BBC were right on that, but there was another story which comes onto that. Then about 4 o'clock, there's a few stories coming out about 4 o'clock. The local media were saying that Fleetwood wanted Freddie Woodman on loan, and it looks like, unless there's a deal that's been done that we're not aware of, that Freddie Woodman is going to be staying at Newcastle, probably will be playing the EFL Cup games. I would like to see Freddie Woodman go out on loan personally. Same time, Sky reported that the Kennedy deal is off, for you who watched WWF or E back in the day. At the same time, around about 4 o'clock, Dwight Gale was again, so he was leaving the training ground. He was smiling, he was happy, everything looked rosy. So I was still confident that nothing was happening with Dwight Gale. About 4:30, Rafa leaves the training ground. However, Lee Charney is still there, probably to try and get some deals in the door. But know that the prick didn't get anybody in. I'm sorry, like, if I'm going to swear, I'll probably get more irate as the video goes on, more frustrated. About 5 to 5, Sky then reported that the Lazar leaving depends on Matt Target coming in. That was to be an incorrect story because we know what happened later on in the night, which we'll come on to. 5 o'clock, seeing the Sun, bizarrely, I mean, if didn't believe now the Sun report. The Sun reported that Newcastle wanted Red Bull Salzburg midfielder Valon Berisha. Never heard of him. For a loan deal and then a fee going up to 12 million. With us so far. 5 o'clock still, reports suggesting that Fulham had offered more money for Dwight Gale at 18 million. Newcastle just weren't responding to that. 5:15, Lazar was pictured leaving the training ground and he was asked by the local media, will he still be a Newcastle player? His reply was, he doesn't know at this point. About 5:30, the Daily Mail said that Lucas Perez actually turned down Newcastle to go Deportivo, and I believe that there's some truth a little bit in there. I don't think it's the full truth, but I think he had his heart set on going back to La Liga. There's no shadow of a doubt the likes of Everton and Newcastle would have offered him a lot more money than what Deportivo were. So credit to him that he's gone back home on less money. Got no qualms about that, but frustrating again, isn't it? It's really frustrating. 6 o'clock, journalist Graham Bailey says that the Matt Target deal is he's heading up to Newcastle for a medical at that time. So there was speculation saying that he was driving up, waiting for a decision for both clubs. So he was in between, he was heading up with his agent. And then another club at 6:20 wanted Freddie Woodman on loan. This time it was Wickham. Again, the media down south was saying that they were after Woodman. Again, it doesn't look like Freddie Woodman's happened unless there's a deal that happens afterwards, you know. Right. 6:25 this evening, Sky then said that the Target transfer deal is off. Lazar will still move. Newcastle wanted his deal to be a season-long deal. However, it's rumoured that Matt Target or Southampton only wanted a 6-month deal. There's probably quite a bit of truth in that. Because, excuse me, while I get me drink. We know that Lazar's obviously gone. Target, I don't know what happened there with him. We'll come on to obviously at the end with all the transfers and everything. 7 o'clock, local journalist, local writer Matt Hardy says that there's no Newcastle deals to be done coming inbound, and he was spot on at 7 o'clock, looking back in hindsight. At the same time, around about 7 o'clock, the Chronicle were reporting that Lazar was still hoping for his deal to take place and go to Benevento, if I pronounced that correctly, in the new Serie A newcomers. About 7:20, local media then, again the Chronicle was saying that Lazar expected the paperwork to be tied up tonight, and again the Chronicle was spot on again about that. And then we started coming in, the stories were starting to come less and less as the night developed. It was more basic on Lazar and Krull. So 7 p.m, officially Lucas Perez joined Deportivo, so they unveiled him. Again, a player I want to see come in there. 7:30, Tim Krull arrives at Brighton ready for his medical. And then at 8, he actually has his medical at Brighton. 9 o'clock, we're seeing Gateshead, believe it or not, try in for a sneaky loan bid for under-23 goalkeeper Nathan Harker, but rules prevented that. About 9:10 tonight, reports in Italy said that Lazar is returning to Italy on to Benevento. About 10 o'clock, pictures then started to emerge from Benevento. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. There's probably Benevento or something like that. Basically, they were readying pictures from Lazar to sign on the table. So they had a couple of directors sitting there on a table ready for him to sign. There's no pictures of Lazar at the time, but they were just readying it for him to sign it. And then 10:20 tonight, it was official that Ashraf Lazar joins Benevento. The club announced this on their official website as well. And then we're seeing Tim Krull towards the end of the transfer window officially join Brighton. His career is now over in Newcastle. He's only got 1 year left. He's joined on a loan deal. And he said on Sky Sports that it was a long day, stressful day, and he's left a wonderful club behind. And that's credit Tim Krull. Yes, he wanted to stay at the club. Rafa didn't really see much future in him, but he's headed out the door. And you know, the frustrating thing is, if I just look at this list, which I'm going to reel off to you now, the players who have actually got in. So you're looking at Hosselu, Lejeune, Manquillo, Murphy, Atsu on a permanent, and Mikel Merino. For me, that list is not good enough at all. You probably say that one or two of them will probably come out as gems, but realistically, if you look at Newcastle's first 11, let me just run you through what you probably think is the first 11 if there's no injuries. So you probably say it's Elliott in goal, then you'll say Yedlin at right back, Lascelles, Clark or Lejeune, pick whoever you want, and the other centre back, Dummett at left back, and then you probably say Hayden and Shelby if they're both fit. On the right it's Richie, on the left is probably Atsu, Prez in the 10 for me is shite in the 10, and I'm being critical, but week in, week out, you'll have a good game. Like West Ham, you tracked really, really hard against West Ham, but next week, well, when I say next week, the game against Swansea, you probably have a stinker. That's what Prez is. He doesn't give you consistency. And Mo Diarma in that second number 10, man, I'm really worried about that position. And then you probably say Dwight Gale, obviously number one striker. I know he's got a bit of competition with Hostel and Mitrovic, but over the course of the season, for me, that's not good enough. That team there, looking at that paper, as you can see, what I've done there is I've got everybody's positions, and I just that's what I'm going to be asking on the next stream. All the people who are coming on, like Alicia, Will, David, Ford. I'm going to be running through them. Is that good enough? Because me, that's not. The only thing that I've got that I think that Newcastle have in their benefit is they've got Rafa Benitez. That's the only positive I've got out of it. And then you spin it on, but what if he doesn't stay? Because of the fucking carry on with the fucking transfers, the board all summer. Lee Charney, Justin Barnes is another one. People say Mike Ashley, but Mike Ashley's not really involved in transfers, but he should be given the money. I've said numerous times, I mean, we've sold recently, if I just run you through this list, the players that I've sold, Anita, free transfer, fair enough, De Jong, Riviere, Gouffran, free transfer, and Babu, Dowell Murphy, Matt Sells on loan, Armstrong on loan, Hanley, Krull and Lazar on night. Our squad is weak. It's really, really weak. And yes, we didn't get any players in, but what I'm going to be pissed off about the most, and I'll be brutally honest with you, is in the next 2 to 3 days, you're going to have the local media, and in particular, that I fucking hate the national media. I can't stand the bastards. They're going to be printing stories about Rafa Benitez is unhappy, but it is probably true in this case, because man, we've sold De Jong, we've sold Riviere, we've sold Hanley, Lazar and Krull out the door on loan. There's got to be someone. I mean, we can't fucking sign a second choice Southampton's left back, man. It's frustrating. It is frustrating, and it all boils down to the figurehead who's at the top of the chain, of the food chain, so to speak. Rafa Benitez, fantastic. We all love him. We understand he's frustrating. We totally get that. However, if you look at then the board, and then you look above that, Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley needs to get the fuck out of our club. I know we keep saying this, and everybody says this now and on. I'm starting to rant because I'm getting a bit irate, and you know that I'll get frustrated about it. I'm trying to keep a level head about it. The question is going to be, I don't know what to say is. I'm frustrated at everybody. We haven't got one player in, and it's not Rafa Benitez that I'm blaming. It's the board for getting these players over the line. Rafa, we're going to hear from, obviously I've mentioned the national media all week. Rafa will stay in, and you know what? I didn't fucking blame him. I really didn't blame Rafa Benitez for leaving. He leave us in the shit, which he probably doesn't want to do because he has an affection with me, you, and everybody else who supports the club, who goes to the games, who sings his name, who pays the tickets on the door. He has that connection, but the question is has he got the tools to do his job? There's no shadow of a doubt we've got money available now because of these players that have been sold. And you just hope that he stays on in January. That's the only thing that you can hope for now. I am genuinely worried for the very first time this season. I've been very confident that Rafa would stay all summer. I've said it all summer that no, he'll stay, he'll be alright. Yes, the board piss on him. But he'll stay. I'm slightly worried now. There's about 30% chance of me being worried. I'm probably a little bit overreacting with obviously the transfer without bringing anybody in, but there's a few, as I mentioned, I'll just quickly recap. For me, Lucas Perez, it looked like we're in for him, we didn't get him. Matt Target, Matt Target, no disrespect to him, but this is Newcastle. We didn't get him in the line, so there's the two that probably fell through today. There's probably some that we'll probably hear about the next day or two, but judging what the press have saying, that they seem to be the two that we've missed out on. And looking at the squad as I've looked down, it's very, very weak. You get 3, 4, 5 injuries, and you've probably got a championship side. In fact, that is probably a championship side, but more 1 or 2 players for me. Very frustrating night for Newcastle. Do keep an eye on our second stream. Give me a second, I'm going to get a drink. Do keep an eye out for our second stream, which will be starting around about 25 too. So keep an eye out for that as well. Let me know, of course, if you watch on the live stream. I can see all your comments. There's too many to respond to, obviously. But let me know if you're watching on the rerun in the comments box down there. But it's fucking frustrating. Like it really is. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.